What's the guy's name on first base? This gun in my hand. It's 9:04 p.m. I've tracked the target to the Roxy Theater on Verf Street. This was the biggest venue in town during the height of vaudeville, but mismanagement killed the place. Even the boards across the box office windows are weathered and gray. He's definitely here. A poster to the side of the doors reads, "Tonight only, the Vaudevillain."
It's pronounced Vaudevillain.
Where are you?
I'm everywhere. It's called a PA system. So, Falk Zildjian, you've discovered my lair. Have you brought along a sidekick, or did I hear you talking to yourself?
I'm dictating notes on my two-way wrist radio. Sometimes it records clues I can sort through later.
I bet the recording would be popular if you broadcast it.
Who would listen to that?
Lots of spectators watch other people play baseball or listen to play-by-play. I imagine some audiences would enjoy recordings of activities as mundane as playing tabletop games, or someone playing the role of a whispering hairdresser, or a person eating enormous quantities of food.
Your mind is obviously warped, Vaudevillain, and that's why I'm bringing you down.
You'll have to catch me first. I'm on after the dancers in the insurance sketch, but before the contortionists.
No magicians?
Mandrake's working the Catskills this time of year.
I'm prying the front doors open and making my way to the stage.
Thanks for keeping me apprised of your progress.
Oh, shut up. The lobby smells like buttered popcorn and mice. I see a faint light under the doors to the auditorium. I'm slowly advancing down the center aisle of the main seating area. Seats appear to be empty, but someone could be crouched behind them. House lights are down, stage lights are on. The curtain is open with a view of props and equipment backstage.
Come in, come in. I'm so glad it's not a hero in a mask tracking me down. I need someone to play the role of stranger with the kind face.
What you're doing here is more burlesque than vaudeville.
Villains break rules. It's kind of a rule of villainy.
I just thought thematically it's confusing if you're going to emphasize vaudeville in your name.
If anybody corrects me on that point, I'll just kill him. Like so. Bang!
That was the sound of a cloth backdrop falling into place at the rear of the stage. It looks like a turn-of-the-century living room. No furniture on the stage, but painted on the backdrop are armchairs. I guess that's supposed to be aquamarine wallpaper with pale pink flowers. A fireplace with crossed dueling pistols hung above the mantel. I can see the pistols swaying a little as the cloth settles. It's all painted, nothing three-dimensional.
Our first act, the high-stepping hoopers of the Zildjian Follies.
These dancers won't do a striptease, will they?
We're trying to stay family-friendly, but how would our audience know unless someone narrates it? I won't tell if you won't.
Okay, hello ladies. I am glad to see that you are all wearing elaborate costumes. And here come the gentlemen. Hello. And here come all the rest of you. I am not distracted at all, because they are all fully clothed. Could one of you tell me, from what I've seen left behind in the Vaudevillain's vacated safe houses and rehearsal spaces, it looks like he keeps his crew captive in a basement until he wants you to perform?
It's a living.
Better than the accommodations we had at that joint in Kalamazoo.
I'm not coming on that stage to be kicked to death by a chorus line, if that's what you think.
Don't worry, Zildjian. Your blood will be entirely on my hands. I can't afford the extra combat pay for my performers.
You keep them locked up, but you also pay them?
They've never been locked up. Can you imagine the time and expense of kidnapping a dozen people, building cages, feeding them, guarding them, single-handedly remodeling this theater, then teaching them dance moves and juggling and ventriloquism? These clods are all professionals, and still, for as much as I pay, I can barely get an acceptable performance out of them.
You can't talk to us like that. I always knew you were no good.
What gave it away? The blood? Get off the stage. The second act was supposed to be jugglers, but they couldn't juggle torches or hand axes, so I gave them early retirement. We now present a performance by Winifred, Froggy, and Petey Westlaw. You might remember their National Rifle Manufacturers Association commercial, when Winifred said, "Hey kids, let's put on a show." This vignette is sponsored by Blyco. The scene begins with Froggy in his living room late one night.
Yeah, I'm married. Does it matter? You'd do that for me? Really? Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to on the phone?
It's Mr. Christian from Blyco. Sounds like a really great deal.
Mr. Christian from Blyco at 3 in the morning? Give me that. Who is this?
It's Mr. Christian from Blacko.
What are you wearing, Mr. Christian from Blyco?
If you please, Mum. Double-breasted blue wool uniform coat and waistcoat with ivory piping and brass buttons, linen shirt with ruffled cuffs, French lace ascot, navy blue blocked felt lieutenant's hat with grosgrain ribbon embellishment, white silk knee breeches, stockings, shoes.
She sounds hideous.
Well, you're misgendering him, so...
And now the main attraction.
Me, the Vaudevillain, on stage and reporting for Act 3.
Right on schedule. Here comes our volunteer from the audience, Falk Zildjian. Up the steps and onto the stage.
Look, pal, it's not going to work. I know your shtick. When you get your enemies to say certain keywords, you transform from a mediocre comedian into a devastating martial artist. I've heard your keywords and I know enough to avoid them.
You don't want to discuss what happened at that famous honeymoon destination in upstate New York?
I won't mention that, or the company that makes headwear along a river in Pennsylvania, or the street named after rings of bread that are boiled and then baked with garlic or poppy seeds on top.
You think you've stopped me, Zildjian? You might disdain working with a team or an assistant, but my show works best when there's a full troupe. See that little box at center stage down by the footlights? I'd like you to meet one of the most integral members of the crew. He is known as the Prompter.
Boss, I got nothing against improvisation, but you give me no script to work from. How do I know when to feed you lines?
Feed me any line from the list I've given you when you see me make this hand signal.
You could just cross your fingers or wave. There's no call for that.
Is this better?
Marginally.
Then give me one of the lines.
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls! Slowly I turned, and step by step, inch by inch, I walked up to him, and I smashed him. I hit him. I bucked him, and I beamed him.
You won't find me as easy a target as Curly, you... What kind of performance is this? You're skipping half the routine.
Come on, next line.
I'm just trying to find the Susquehanna Hat Company.
Susquehanna Hat Company! I lost my true love to a man in one of those lousy straw hats from the Susquehanna Hat Company.
I'm telling you the name of the man on first base.
Who?
Yes.
What's his name?
What's on second?
I don't know.
Third base.
What makes you the world's expert on nicknames of ball players?
This gun in my hand.
Perfect. I knew you'd bring it out at some point. Now I can move stage left where the fireplace is painted on the backdrop, and from above the mantel, I'll draw the most unbeatable, inevitable weapon in the theatrical world. Chekhov's gun!
But those pistols were just two-dimensional representations painted on the backdrop.
When I said there would be no magician, I lied. Blast! My sources didn't tell me you were such a marksman. You shot the pistols right out of my hands.
The show's over, Vaudevillain.
Au contraire. The show must go on. Anyway, I paid these mugs, so I expect to see at least one decent performance by the contortionists.
Is this supposed to be music to contort by?
It's the best I could find without paying royalties. And we can remain a family-friendly show if you don't tell anybody what the contortionists are wearing.
There's literally nothing to tell. I hope you folks aren't getting splinters on my account.
Let me ask you one thing before you bring me in. What am I accused of doing?
They said you strangled some people.
Did they say who?
No.
Pharmaceutical executives.
Oh, crap. I've never been more conflicted. You probably saved lives and reduced the suffering of innocent people in the long run. I'm torn. Locking you up won't bring back the dead. If I let you go, you'll kill more of them?
Absolutely.
Oh, crap. I'm even more conflicted. No, I have to stick to my guns. You have to be locked up. Where would we be if people went around attacking and killing whoever they felt had done wrong?
We'd be right where we are now. Two vigilantes chatting about our next victims.
What set you on this killing spree? Did you just want the attention?
No, I wanted revenge. Vaudeville jobs are being displaced by motion pictures. It's putting thousands of hard-working, hard-drinking Americans out of work.
What does that have to do with pharmaceutical executives?
I'm not a complete monster. When I decided killing people was the thing I should start doing, I went for the low-hanging fruit. The people who really deserved it. Who no one would miss. Complete monsters.
Fair enough.
But I craved revenge. Those of us with theater in our blood, we can't just transition to working in Hollywood. They don't need all of us. What are we supposed to do?
You might find some consolation in the training provided at your local correctional facility. They'll offer GED or college classes as well as vocational training in such up-and-coming fields as pin setter at a bowling alley, telegraph operator, typesetter, maintenance and repair of reel-to-reel tape recorders, or even radio.
I could be on the radio?
No, you could repair radios. Don't horn in on my territory. The Vaudevillain, episode 21 of This Gun in My Hand, was dramatized by Rob Northrup. Visit thisguninmyhand.blogspot.com for credits, show notes, information on how to subscribe, and to buy my books, such as Little Heist in the Big Woods and Other Revisionist Atrocities. What really killed vaudeville? This gun in my hand!